Alrighty, so we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be joining us from today. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Today we're going to be going over Microsoft Power BI Online. This is going to be at a level 100, so we're going to go through navigations, some information on how you can kind of see the reports and build out your reports, and really just go over those key factors of what it takes to kind of have a good understanding of what Power BI is. Now, normally I would wait a few minutes for people to get in, but we have a lot of information to cover, so we're actually going to go ahead and just get started right away. This training is going to be recorded and it's going to be available for you live on demand. Um, and if you would like to join anonymously, all you have to do is log out and then log back in utilizing your web browser. As always, the functionality for today, since we are inside of a Teams live event, we do have the ability to show and hide the questions by clicking onto that question mark box. If you'd like to ask a question, you can include your name. This is optional. You can type in where it says ask a question and simply hit enter, or press that little paper plane icon to send your message over to us. And then you also have the ability to post your question as anonymous. If you'd like to go full screen, you can hit those diagonal arrows. You can turn on and off closed captioning by clicking onto that CC button, and you'll be able to go into the cogwheel for your settings for your captions and video quality. You do also have the ability to change the volume by clicking onto that microphone icon, and you can also play and pause the event at any time. And if you do need to pause the event and you need to walk away from your computer, that's perfectly fine. And then you can always press play and pick up and resume right where you left off. But do keep in mind, if you do pause the event, that you're no longer going to be live with us. So if you do have a question, we do ask that you kind of be a little more specific in your question and how you're asking us, because we may already be past that section. So just keep that in mind. All right, so for today, the only ability that you have to communicate with us is going to be utilizing that Q&A function. So please take full advantage of that. Your microphone is going to be automatically muted and your camera will not be in use. We do ask that you turn up your audio and also to turn on the closed captioning if need be, to ensure that you're receiving all of the information today from myself as the presenter. And just to put a face to the name and the voice that you're hearing, my name is Carmelo. I'm a training associate here at Microsoft. I'm also joined by Frank today, who's also a training associate who's going to be helping me moderate that Q&A. All right, so here's our agenda for today. First off, we want to know what is PowerPoint and how does it connect to the Power Platform. We're also going to take a look at what is a data set, report, and dashboard, and data connections. We're going to show you how to navigate the Power BI service and explore the home, navigation pane, and search bar, and explore workspaces to place the place to collaborate with colleagues to create collections of dashboards and reports. And then we're also going to show you how to create a Power BI report from a sample data set, and then how to connect that sample data, view sample reports, and understand the parts of the dashboard to create a new report from a data set, pin visualizations onto your report to a dashboard. And then lastly, we're going to show you how to share your insights with others and be able to share your dashboard and reports within different applications such as Teams. All right, so Microsoft Power BI is a business analytics service that delivers insights for analyzing data. It can share those insights through data visualizations, which make up reports and dashboards to enable fast, informed decisions. So whether your data is a simple Microsoft Excel workbook or a collection of cloud-based and on-premise hybrid data warehouses, Power BI lets you easily connect your data sources so that you can visualize or discover what's important and share that with anyone or everyone that you want. You're going to have a self-service analytics, which reduces the complexity, cost, and security risks of multiple solutions and puts the power back in the hands of the business decision makers. So reports can be shared with business stakeholders securely, and Power BI brings dashboards to anyone in your organization who may need them. So Power BI has hundreds of custom visualizations and the ability to connect to tons of data sources, including tight integrations with Excel, and the capability of adding in artificial intelligence capabilities without deep AI knowledge. So as always, Microsoft has a commitment to your data security, and sharing through Power BI service means that you never have to worry about having deeper connection to your data, meaning sacrificing security. So sensitivity classifications and data loss prevention capabilities means keeping your data secure and compliant, especially with our organization for today. Since we are dealing with a government organization, this is very important. All right, so the Microsoft Power Platform is comprised of 4 key products. We have Power Apps, Power BI, Power Automate, and then Power Virtual Agents. So our vision for the Power Platform started from the recognition that data is increasingly flowing from everything, and the belief that organizations that harness their data to gain insights, then used to drive intelligent business processes, will outperform those that don't. So we also recognize that there aren't enough programmers, data scientists, and tech professionals to go around. So our goal was to build a platform targeting these technology experts and the millions of other frontline workers who see opportunities every day to create something better than the status quo. But whoever who've never been able to been empowered to do anything about it. All right, so our guiding vision is a framework allowing users to gain insights from analyzing their data, acting on the intelligence via apps that they build, automating business processes, and assisting users with intelligent virtual agents. So again, this is the Microsoft Power Platform. Today, we're really going to be strictly focused on Power BI. So Power BI consists of 3 parts. So we have a Windows desktop application called Power BI Desktop, an online service called Power BI Service, and then we also have Power BI Mobile. So how you use Power BI might depend on your role on a project or within the team. So Power BI Desktop is the Microsoft Power BI Desktop application that allows you to create rich interactive reports in a PowerPoint for data like experience that can be easily published to the Power BI service to be viewed by others. Right, so Power BI Service is a software as a service application, or SaaS, that runs on the web. While the Power BI Service is commonly used for consuming reports built in Power BI Desktop, it's also possible to create out-of-the-box reports and dashboards through the cloud, which is what we're going to do today. Then next, we have Power BI Mobile. So Power BI mobile apps are available for iOS and Android for end users to monitor reports no matter their location. All right, so once we get started with Power BI, we're going to refer to several different building blocks. The most important are going to be data sets, reports, and dashboards. So a data set is a collection of data that Power BI uses to create its visualizations. Reports is a collection of visualizations that appear together on one or more pages, just like any other report that you might create for a sales presentation or write for a school assignment. A report in Power BI is a collection of items that are related to each other. And then dashboards. So when you're ready to share a single page from a report or a collection of visualizations, you can create a dashboard. So much like the dashboards in a car, a Power BI dashboard is a collection of visuals from a single page that you can share with others. Often, it's a selected group of visuals that provide quick insights into the data or the story that you're trying to present. So you may also hear us refer to visualizations, which are visual representations of data like charts, color-coded maps, etc. So visualizations in Power BI are shown in tiles. All right, so today we're going to be able to tour and use the Power BI service. And visualizing and sharing data within the Power BI service helps everyone from business analytics to professional developers work more efficiently together by allowing your colleagues to explore the dashboards and reports that have been shared with them. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into our demonstration. I do ask that you bear with me for one moment. I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen, and then I'm going to reshare it again, and I'm going to bring up my demo account, and then we'll get started. So please bear with me for one moment. Alrighty, so now everyone should be able to see that I'm sharing my demo account. I do want to ask really quickly, Frank, are you able to see the screen nice and clear?
Absolutely, Carmelo.
Alrighty. Awesome. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is access Power BI. I already have it pulled up inside of my browser, but all you have to do is go into any browser of your choosing, type in office.com or portal.office.com. As always, you're going to have to log in with your work credentials. Once you're logged in, you're going to see it says welcome to Microsoft 365. We're going to go ahead and go up to our app launcher at the top left. And from here, if you have never accessed Power BI, which is perfectly fine, you may not see it here in this list. I do see it here. But if you don't see it, you'll be, you'll be able to go into all apps. And from here, this list is in alphabetical order. So all you have to do is scroll down to the P's and we'll be able to find pretty much all of our Power applications. And we can see that we have Power BI. Once we click onto that, it's going to open up in a new tab here in our browser. And it brings us to the Power BI online homepage. Now we're going to go over a little bit of navigation in this homepage. All right, so the first thing that we can talk about here inside of the navigation is our search. So the search bar is going to be right up here at the very top right. We can click onto that, and this is going to allow for us to do a global search, where we can easily search for content by typing in the name of our reports or dashboards. We'll be able to see any recent searches that we may have done before. And then we also can see here on my screen that I have an ellipses. You may just have all the icons there already, but because I have a really big screen, it's going to just show me this ellipses here, where I can see any notifications. These are going to be alerts generated by our data and even upcoming Power BI events and announcements, kind of like the one that we're in today. We also have our settings. But we'll be able to go ahead and manage personal storage. We can see that we have our admin portal from here. We have our connections and gateways, just our general settings for Power BI, our Azure Analysis Service migrations, and then manage embedded codes. We also have our download option, where you can see here we have the ability to download the Power BI desktop application, Data Gateway, Paginated Report Builder, Power BI for mobile, and then analyze in Excel updates. Of course, we also have our help and support. This is going to be an important area, especially if we're beginning to learn how to utilize Power BI. You can see here that the first option that we have is getting started with Power BI. And if we actually click onto that, it's going to open up inside of a tab here on our browser. And this is going to be our kind of like learning document area inside of Microsoft. This is going to be the area where a lot of information is held pertaining to applications within Microsoft. So not only Power BI, but pretty much all of our applications are going to have this learning portal. So for here, you can see that it gives us an overview of what this particular learning document has entailed. So we can see that it tells us what is Power BI, what is the Power BI desktop, Power BI service, and then comparing the desktop and the service. So currently, right now, we are going to be inside of the Power BI service, quote unquote, because we're utilizing Power BI online. Also inside of that help section, we're going to see that we have other documentations. We have the ability to do some different trainings and learning paths. And then we also have our Power BI community. Usually if you have a question, I would venture to say that 99% of the time that question has been posed by someone on the community. So you'll actually be able to go in there and learn from each other. And inside of the community, there's usually going to be someone who is either an engineer for Power BI or someone that is working really closely with Power BI that's going to be in there as a moderator that's going to be able to answer all those questions that people may have. And maybe, again, they probably already have answered that question. Right. And then, of course, lastly, inside of the ellipses here, we have our feedback where you can submit an idea or you can submit an issue if you have any issues that are coming up with Power BI. Right, so if we go ahead and we navigate over to the left-hand side, we'll be able to see that we have some different tabs. So currently right now we are inside of our home tab, which is going to show us some information. It's going to show us the most recently accessed Power BI visualizations and dashboards. You can see the ones that we most frequently use. If we keep scrolling down to the bottom, we're going to see recents. We're going to see favorites, and then we're going to see applications. So if we click on favorites, we're going to see if we have anything there. Now, if you wanted to, you can go into recents or you can go into any one of your reports here. If you hover over it, you'll be able to see that little star where you can add it as a favorite. And then we also have my apps, and these are going to be different applications that are kind of bringing in data from those applications. All right. If we actually go back up here to the top right, we're going to see our profile. And if we click onto that, we'll be able to see the type of license that we have. Currently, right now, I'm in the Trial Pro license. And you may see that you can also access that Trial Pro license for 60 days. You can also cancel the trial. If you don't have the Pro license, it's going to ask you to review the license or learn more about different licenses that we have available inside of Power BI. All right, so the next portion here, again, inside of our left-hand pane, you're going to see another button that says Create. And if we click onto that, here's going to be the area where we'll be able to create those reports, paginated reports, scorecards, dashboards, and then stream data sets. If we click on Browse, it's just going to allow us to browse those different reports and visualizations that we may have already imported into Power BI. The Data Hub. This is going to be the area where we can bring in our data. So we're going to be able to see, one, all of the different data sets that we have available to us that we already have imported into Power BI. If we click on where it says My Data, again, it's going to show the ones that you have specific access to. And then endorsed in your organization. These are just going to be different data sets that may have been created by your IT admin or someone within your organization that you can utilize. Currently, right now, I do not have anything because this is our demo account, but you may have some stuff there already inside of your organization. All right, next we have our metrics, and this is going to allow us to create something called a scorecard. So the scorecard is basically going to show us how things have changed within our data and give us a score based on that. Usually, if you're running an older version of Power BI, it's going to be called goals. In the newer version, it's called metrics. But we can go ahead and click onto one of these sample scorecards. So for example, we can go ahead and click onto this sales sample one. It's going to go ahead and show us the different metrics. We can see if anything is overdue, if we're behind on anything that we may need to reach out to like certain people, whatever the case may be, if we're behind on that. And then at risk and on track. So again, this goals area or the metrics area is going to be the area for us to track our key business objectives. We can see the change in statuses and check in with updates and relevant notes. So as a new user, this page may be empty. So again, we're inside of the sales sample one. At the bottom of our sales sample, we're going to be able to see again all of the goals here. So we can notice at a high level our goal statuses. We can see if we're on track, if things have been completed, or if things are at risk, or if we're behind on certain areas. Now you can also see that there may be some drop downs. So if I click onto a particular drop down, it's going to have some more information pertaining to this particular goal. So in this case here, it says like streamline the sales lead process. And then we have some subtasks or goals that we have to kind of attend to in order to complete that goal. All right. Again, we also have the application area. And these are going to be your collections of dashboards and reports in one easy to find page. So as you can see here, I have a few different applications. I have Microsoft Forms. I have my dashboard right here, which is my sales and marketing sample report. And then I also have Microsoft Project. So you can incorporate projects into Power BI. So if you're doing project management, this is a good tool to utilize. We're not going to talk about deployment pipelines. We're just going to skip over that one for now. And then we're going to go ahead and click on to where it says Learn. So here inside of Learn, this is where we're actually going to kind of begin to view our different sample reports. And this is going to allow for us to be able to follow along with each other. So today we're actually going to go ahead and utilize the revenue opportunities one. It may be called something different again inside if you're using an older version of Power BI. It may be called the opportunity analysis sample. So depending which version you're using, it's still going to have the same information though. So we're going to go ahead and actually click onto this one. And we're going to kind of really dive into Power BI and the data and information that we receive from it. Before we do that, I do want to also point out that we have below all of these different tabs here, we have our different workspaces. We have my workspace, and then inside of your workspace are going to be your different dashboards that you have created, and then your different reports that you have created. All right, so you can access those fairly quickly from there. Now we also have the area that says get data right here at the very bottom, which may be easy to overlook. But this is where we're going to be able to import our different data sets, either from Excel. We can import them from, as stated before, from Microsoft Project. So we have a number of different areas that we can get data from. And we'll be able to actually click onto that to see those different areas where we can get the data from. All right, so now that we are inside of our opportunity sample sales report, we can see here some information that's automatically given to us. All right, so we can see that we have opportunity and revenue performances across different geographies in various sales stages. All right, so at the top left of the page, this is going to be some of the most important information that is given to us. And it's going to be some of our most important performance indicators. So we can see currently that there is $1.97 billion in opportunity revenue. We also can see that we have 444 opportunities that are prominently displayed. We can also see that there are multiple regions on our report represented both in a tree map and in a bar chart. All right, so judging from our tree map, we can see that the east and central regions account for most of the revenue. And we can notice that really relatively quickly because we can kind of see the difference in sizes. So we can see here that the east has the most opportunity in revenue. Then next is central, and then last here is west. So if we were to select the east region within this tree map, we're also going to see that the page will dynamically update, applying our selections across all of the visualizations here that we see on the screen. So if we actually go ahead and click onto where it says east, we'll see everything update, fairly simple and easy to do with ease. All right, so now from this east map that we have just switched over to, we can see that New York accounts for the largest revenue in the east. And we know that because we can look on our map here and we can see right here that it's showing New York in blue, which indicates that it has the highest revenue in that region. Now, if we wanted to, we can also save this as a personal bookmark. So if we go up here to the top right, we're going to see something that looks like the little bookmark visualization. Let's see if we can zoom in there a little bit. So once we click onto that, we can add this either as a personal bookmark, and if we have other bookmarks already, we'll be able to show those other ones. Currently, right now, I do not have any. I actually just deleted all of them not too long ago, just so I can go ahead and refresh and show you how to do it from here. Brand new. So now I can go ahead and add a personal bookmark, and then I can name this bookmark. So let's go ahead and just name this one East. Now we can check to make this a default view. So whenever, even if we leave out of this visualization, if we come back in, this is going to be the default view that we see every time we come into this report. So I can go ahead and click make this a default view. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and click on save. All right, so now we can see here that we have our bookmark, and I have an ellipses right here as well. It's very small and hard to see. But that's going to give us some more information. So I can actually go ahead and click back onto that ellipsis and see what other information I have available and the other options. So from here, if my data for whatever reason gets updated inside of Power BI, sometimes it takes a while for it to update. It could take up to like 24 hours. So sometimes it could take a while depending on the amount of data that has been updated in the back end on your data, in the data sets. So if you did update it, you're going to have to go in there and kind of manually refresh and update to ensure that you have the most up-to-date data. Now you also can see that we can clear the default, which is currently right now set to the East visualization. If we don't want that, we can clear that out. We can rename the bookmark, and then we can also delete or remove that bookmark. Now you may also notice that I have this little blue arrow pointing kind of towards the left. This is just kind of like our reset filter. So if we actually go ahead and click onto that, it's going to allow for us to reset this particular visualization back to its original view. So I can actually click onto it. It's going to ask me, do I want to reset? And the filters, slicers, and other data view changes that you may have made, I can choose reset or cancel. Let's just keep it for now, but I do want to show you that that is there. All right, so creating a unique experience within Power BI isn't limited to saving your filters. We can also personalize visualizations to help draw insights in a way that makes most sense to you. So if we hover above the pipeline by stage, which is right here, we'll be able to see that we get some information up here at the top. We can see that we can pin the visualization so that it never changes. We can copy as an image with a caption. We can choose different filters on the visualization. And then we can choose personalize this visual. We also have something called focus mode. We're going to get into that in a little bit. And then, of course, we have some more options where if we click onto this, we can see the visualization type. We can change the different axes. So we have y-axis, x-axis. We can change the information on these different axes. We have a legend, small multiples, and then some tooltips. And we're going to get into this in a little bit too as well. But for now, let's go ahead and choose personalize this visual. As you can see, once I choose that, it basically brings up that same more options pane. Currently, right now, we are set to the visual type of stacked bar chart. Now we can change the different visual types. So I can go in there and I can click onto that. And we're going to see that we have a little menu. Now, depending on the size of your screen, this menu may be pretty difficult to see and read, but you can hover over each of these different visuals to see what it is. So for example, right now we are inside of this first one. And if we hover over that, we can see that it says stacked bar chart. If I wanted to, I can change this one to the funnel one. We can see automatically how that changes. Right? So if we want to, we can go ahead and click onto the X and we'll get rid of that. And now we can see the information here. I kind of clicked on May there by mistake. And so the information changed, but we can still see how it changes the visualization pretty quickly so that we can read it a little bit better. All right, so now we can save this personalized experience for any time that you want to review the report. We're going to go ahead and just reset this visual back to its original, and we're just going to go ahead and click onto that arrow pointing towards the left. All right, so lastly here, of course, Power BI being the PowerPoint for data, quote unquote. If we go back up to the top right corner, it's going to be right up here. We're going to see that we have different views. So we can actually click onto this and we can change it to a full screen view or full screen mode to view the entire page. And you're going to have the same interactive experience, but now it's ready for your team meetings. So if we actually go ahead and click onto that, we'll see that it basically places it into like a presentation mode. We'll still have the same interactive experiences. So if we wanted to, we can click on to like our East Coast view and we'll see that it updates for us. And it just shows us what it's going to look like while we're presenting. All right, if we click onto where it says go back, it's just going to go back into the original view. In our case here, just went back straight to our sample reporting page. So let's go ahead and click that again. But we'll be able to go back. And we also can see that we have our two arrows kind of pointing at each other. And this is to kind of minimize that screen again. So there should be two choices to change the views again back to its original default view. All right, so let's take a quick pause, see if we have any questions so far, any comments, or if you would like for us to go ahead and demonstrate anything again, please go ahead and let us know inside of that Q&A.
Carmelo, at this time, there are no questions or comments in the Q&A.
Excuse me. Awesome. So let's go ahead and let's continue a little bit more here. So we're going to explore on a more detailed level, looking at the monthly performance. So we're going to go ahead and look at the overview page of our report, which we're already in. And then we're going to go ahead and look in the revenue and opportunity count by month, which is going to be this one right here. So the one on the very top right. In here, we can see that there's a large variability on the revenue by month, with July through November having particularly lower total revenue. So we can see from pretty much from January to June, we can see that this is going up. And then from July, it starts to kind of dip down, and then it looks like it's picking back up over here in December. But we can see that there have been some different variances, right? Changes. So we're going to go ahead and start exploring these insights. First, we're going to right click on the July column. So if we go ahead and do that, from here, we'll be able to see that we can have some information. We can share just this particular information as a link, or we can share it in a chat in Teams. We can show this as a table. We can include it in a different visualization or exclude it from our current one. And then we have analyze. So the analyze option is going to allow for us to do one of two things: either explain the instances of where it's kind of deviating. In this case, we can explain the decrease, and then we can find where this distribution is different. So these options are part of our advanced analytical capabilities that can help you review insights and potentially find variances within your data at the click of a button. So for example, let's go ahead and explain the decrease in our revenue. So let's go ahead and click onto that. And once we click onto it, we're going to be able to see that it gives us some information. First, of course, by the revenue. It's going to give us exactly what it finds. We can see here in this case, it says North Carolina and Pennsylvania accounted for the majority of the decrease among states, offsetting the increase of West Virginia. The relevant contributions made by West Virginia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania changed the most. If we keep scrolling down, we'll be able to see some more information. And of course, so it's going to give us kind of like different visuals that we can actually utilize, and we can choose to have, and we can see how it got to those particular visualizations here on the bottom. All right, but each one is going to give us some different insight into how and why this happened. In our case here, how did we lose and have a 61.19% decrease in revenue between June and July? All right, now if we wanted some more information, we also have something called a Q&A. So the Q&A is going to allow for us to be able to ask questions in what's called a natural language query. So we can ask questions about our data. Usually you're going to be able to find the Q&A up here at the top. In my case here, it's probably not going to show me, but I do see it right here at the very top right corner. So it's kind of in a weird hidden spot. Sometimes it may be up here at the top, and sometimes you'll be able to see it right here on the corner. It looks like a little question box. See if I can actually zoom into that so we can see. Timmy pointed. But either way, it's right here at the very top. So let's go ahead and see again if we can zoom in one more time. There we go. So it's like that little question mark box. Now don't get it confused, because there is one that looks pretty much very similar to that, and that's right up here where it says, but this one is the comment section. So if we want to leave comments on our dashboard here, we can do that, but it's different. So this one has a different functionality. This one is actually our Q&A, and we can ask questions. So we can go ahead and click onto that. It's going to open up, and now we can ask questions. Again, it's utilizing something called a natural language query. So let's go ahead and ask our question about the data that we have. Let's go ahead and just type in revenue. So we can either click onto that. Currently, right now, we do have some information, and it's showing us the revenue that we have. In this case, it's already set to like the East Coast. So it's basically just showing us the revenue for East Coast. If we wanted to, we can kind of put in some more information. So we can say revenue by product. And then it gives us a different visualization. And we can scroll down and we'll be able to see pretty much all of the revenue by the different products that we have. So we have our product code and then our revenue. And then if we wanted to change the way that the visualization looks, let's go ahead and say in a pie chart. All right, so now we have our pie chart, and we can also keep going even more. So let's say if we wanted the bottom three. So instead of seeing all of this information here, we can say something like bottom three let's go ahead and put revenue by product in a pie chart. All right, so now we can see that it's really kind of just filtering out all of that information. In this case here, we narrowed it down by just asking or inputting the information that we really wanted to see. So we put like bottom three revenue by product in a pie chart. So now we can see the bottom three. And again, in this case, and it's in this instance, we're still inside of like the East Coast information. So now we can see that we have our product codes right here, which are color coded for us. And then we have our revenue, and we can see exactly what are the bottom three products here for the East Coast. Right, we can always go ahead and close out by clicking onto the X. And it'll just bring us back to our report. Now we do also have something that is called drilling. So we have the ability to either drill up or drill down within our data and information. So since we're already inside of the East Coast, let's say that we wanted to really get some more information on our data here. So we can go to our revenue by region and state. We can go ahead and do a right click, and we'll be able to see that we have a drill down option. We have some more information here. We're not going to really talk too much about the other information today, but we want to really view what this drill down option does. So I'm going to go ahead and click onto that. And now you can see that it starts to begin to narrow down and itemize each of the different states within the region. So again, we're inside of East Coast. And now within the East Coast, we can see exactly who performed or who did not perform. In this case, Florida didn't, but we can see that our top performer is New York. And then we can see like those different hierarchies within the different levels. So right now, currently, we're inside of the state level within the East region. Now, if we wanted to, we can also hover over our visualization, and we're going to get the same options here again. So you can see that we have drill up and then drill down. We're also going to have an option to drill down to the lowest level, which currently right now it's pretty much already on, so it doesn't give us that option. And then we have some other options as well. We can pin this visualization, copy it, and then see the filters that are on the visualization as well. And of course, open this up in focus mode. Let's go ahead and click to turn on the drill down again. You can see that nothing happened, but we can also go ahead and drill back up, and it's going to bring us back to our almost original view. So that's what the drill up and drill down options will do. Essentially, it just goes into the next hierarchy of the data. Now, if the drill options are not available, that just means that there's simply no hierarchy available for that particular visualization. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the option of drill through. So if we go ahead and click onto that, we're going to be able to see that we have detail. And once we click onto that, it's going to kind of open up here in a new page. And this is basically something called a matrix chart. So inside of this matrix chart, we'll begin to be able to see different types of information. So again, we have our opportunity size, our region, partners, and we can kind of begin to filter out this information to get some really fine-tuned detailed information here. So we can go ahead once again and turn on the drill down option from here, which is already inside of drill down, so we don't have to do that, but we can turn that on again to get some more refined information by states. We can begin to filter out the information by particular partners or by the revenue itself. So if we go ahead and click on just revenue, we can see that it will filter. So now we have the highest revenue to the lowest, or we can filter out again by lowest to highest. Right, so it does change the information and the way that we can view it. Let's go ahead and jump back into our opportunity overview. All right, so with that being said, I do want to talk a little bit about how to create an actual report. But one last thing I do want to showcase is that if we wanted to, we can do a right click on any one of these different visuals here, and we'll be able to see that we have the option to share. And we can share this inside of Teams, which is going to be the easiest way for us to share some information with our colleagues. So let's go ahead and change this back to East Coast. And let's go ahead and choose July. And now we can actually choose a particular product within July. And let's say we want to choose quantity. So we can choose by specific product and information there, right? All right, so now if we wanted to, we can send this revenue opportunity count by month. And again, we can share this out. Let's go ahead and click on share in Teams. It's going to go ahead and load up a link for us where we'll be able to copy and paste that link directly into Teams. Or we can type the name of a person, group, or channel in Teams. So I'm just going to go ahead and type in Frank. I can go ahead and leave a comment. And I can say, hey, Frank. And then hit share. All right, so now the link has been sent over to Frank inside of Teams. If I jump inside of Teams right now, I should be able to see that chat that I had sent over to Frank just right now. So recent. All right, so now you can see that it basically sends over as this really long link. Now there's something else we can do. If we go into our formatting options, which is going to be the A with the pencil, we'll be able to go ahead, click onto the ellipses here, and we can see where it says insert a link. So we can actually insert this same link right here into the address area, and then we can do a text to display link. So it basically really shortens it down. So I can just say like quantity data or something like that, and then input the link right here. So instead of having this gigantic link, I'll be able to insert that link here and then do a text to display. And I'll show you what that looks like, just so that we can see. All right, so let's go back into share. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just copy and paste this link. Let's go ahead and copy. Back into Teams, paste it into our address, Control V. And then I want this to be called Quanti data. And hit insert. All right, so now I have just Quanti data as the link instead of this gigantic link there. And I can send it out. And boom, nice and clean. Go ahead and delete this one. Perfect. So now Frank, all he has to do is go ahead and click onto that, and it'll bring him directly to Power BI, to the visualization that we created, which is for the product code and Quanti right here. And this one is the one that's going to be highlighted for him. All right. So we've talked about a lot of information here. So for the last few minutes, I want to talk about how to kind of begin to build out your reports. So let's go ahead and kind of escape from this information here. Let's jump into our workspaces. Or actually, let's go ahead and jump into my workspace. So once you click onto my workspace, you're going to see all of the different reports and data sets that you have available to you. I'm going to go ahead and click on New. And I'm going to go ahead and build out a report. Now you can either choose to paste or manually enter in data. You can see that you can enter in data from like Excel, or again, you can utilize something like Microsoft Project if you want to. Now today we're going to go ahead and pick a published data set that I already have available for us. And I'm going to go ahead and use the opportunity analysis sample. Now I can auto create a report, and it's basically just going to create a report based on what it deems as important for people to see. Or I can click onto the drop down here and just create a new report from blank. I'm going to go ahead and create a new report from blank. And I'm just going to go ahead and begin to insert and build visuals with my data. So you can see here that it gives us some helpful information. It says to select or drag fields from the fields pane onto the report, into the canvas. Now we can do that and just simply go ahead and begin to drag some information here, or we can search for particular information. I'm going to go ahead and search for example here. Let's say revenue. All I have to do is click and drag, and I'll be able to insert that information there. So again, it's going to go ahead and let me insert it. So let's go ahead and click and drag. And now you can see we get this little bar chart here that gives us information on the revenue. Now I can make this bigger or smaller depending on what I need it for. And we can insert something that may be helpful for us here. So maybe people are going to look at this and say, I don't understand what this means. So we can actually go ahead and go into our account table. So I'm going to close out of that. And let's go into account. And let's go ahead and see what we have here. We can search for different types of information. I want to go and look for the one that says state. So let's see if it's in there. I don't see it, so I'm going to search. I have state right here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to drag it again, and you're going to see what happens. So it changes the visualization here, right? So now it's showing all the states and all the revenue. Now, if I don't like this, I can always go ahead and click onto the more options and remove it. And I can do it in a different way. So maybe I want state. And now see what happens. The visualization kind of changes. So now instead of having like a bar chart, I now have a map of the states. And now if I go back in and I put in revenue, pay close attention to what happens to the map. So I can go ahead and just drag revenue right on top of the map. And now you can see all of these little circles indicating different revenue have changed. And this map is interactive. So if I click, let's say, onto the New York one, It's going to go ahead and give me the information for New York. Being a little finicky right now. Here we go. If I want to, I can hover over any one of these other states and see all of the information pertaining to those states. We have North Carolina, kind of highlights it there for us, right? And we can even zoom in and get a closer look as well. So it is interactive. All right, so now let's say if we wanted to insert some more information on our visualization here. Of course, we have revenue by state, and that's great. But let's say we wanted to insert a new visualization. I actually just clicked out of this visualization, and I already have something that pops up for me automatically. This is actually a question box, which is what I was going to put in here. So I can actually ask a question about the data. Now, if this doesn't pop up for you automatically, you'll be able to go ahead into this visualizations pane and choose Q&A, or you can choose any other visualization that you would like. I'm just going to go ahead and utilize this question box since it popped up, and I'm going to go ahead and type in revenue by product code. All right, so now we got our bar chart here with our revenue by product code. And if we like the way that it looks, we can insert this into our chart. So we can go ahead and insert this into our visualizations. It says, was it useful? Yes, I have more options. I can export this data, remove it, or spotlight. Now, if we actually click onto the waterfall chart, we'll be able to change the way that it looks and it interacts with our map. All right, so we can see that it is changing the information for us. It's just really easy for us to utilize that question box to really kind of hone in on the particular information that we're trying to present there. Personally, I really like this question box because I can really just type in anything that I want pertaining to the data and kind of fine tune in. So again, if we wanted to talk about like that quantity product and see where it's doing the best, we can see that obviously in New York, it's doing the best just for that particular product. All right, and then we can insert in some more stuff here, but unfortunately we are running low on time. But I do want to take a little bit of a few seconds here to go ahead and insert something else. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a new visualization, and let's go ahead and just insert a matrix so you can see what this looks like. Once you insert that particular visualization, is going to give you the information on what you would have to do in order to populate the visualization. So currently right now I chose matrix. Obviously nothing is there, but I can select or drag fields to populate this visual, right? So I have to choose the information or the data from fields and then click and drag it into this particular visual. I do want to throw out there a disclaimer that if you forget to unclick out of a particular visual, if you click and drag any information, it will go into that visual that you're currently clicked into. So always be sure to click outside of that visual in order to add in the information if it's new or if it's a new visual. All right, so for this matrix one, let's go ahead and add in some information really quickly. We're going to go ahead and add in the product code. And we can choose our different filters here. And then we can choose like specific rows or columns if we want to as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the product code field. So I have product right here. And then product code. And I can either click and drag into the visualization, or I can choose where I want it to go, right? I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag into the visualization. Currently, we have quantity selected only, but I can go ahead and begin to do that again. Now you can see I have all of those there. And then I can also choose to click and drag different things and add drill through fields, right? So if I wanted to, I can add in like that product ID as a drill through. And then I can begin to really build out the visualization manually. Right, so now we can see here rows has the product code, and now for columns, I can add or click and drag a different field. And let's say I wanted to do like by month. I can do that as well. So I see I have by month right here. So I can really just click and drag and put that in there. Oh, and now you can see I forgot to click out of this one visualization here. I meant to put that one in there, but that's okay. All right, so now you can see how it starts building out and it starts changing. And now you can see it's kind of creating this like matrix grid, right? It will look like this eventually, but it basically just took all that information from that Q&A box that I had and changed it into the matrix up here, which is what I was trying to do. All right, but since that happened, let's say if we were content and okay with the information, let's remove this one here. And let's say we just really wanted these two, or we can add in a few more, but for the sake of time, let's say we're done. So if we wanted to, we'll be able to go right here to our save button and save this visualization or this report. And we can also click onto the ellipses. We have analyze, but we'll be able to save the report from here. It's going to ask us to name this one. Let's just say demo. We can choose our place and then hit save. All right, so now it's loading the report up for us and how it will look as the whole entire visualization. And then we'll be able to send this off inside of Teams. Or even better, we can actually put it into a Teams channel. And have our whole entire team begin to work on this report as a whole, if need be. Right, and this is going to be the last portion here. I do want to showcase this. So we can go ahead and jump into Power BI. Going to load up for us. I saved it in my workspaces. I have my demo one right here. And then hit save. All right, so now I have my demo report that is going to be generated for everyone on my team or my project team that I'm working with. We'll be able to go in there, view the report, and really start to choose the different information on the report, right? So again, let's say like that quantity one. Boom, it changes here. And now everyone on the team will be able to interact with the data and see how it's working. But I do want to showcase that because I feel like it's important. All right, so we are pretty much done with the information that we do have. I do want to go ahead and take another few minutes here and see if we have any questions, comments, if you would like to see anything again. Now do keep in mind, this is being recorded, so you can always come back to the recording. And also you can jump into those Power BI tutorials that I showed you earlier, and you'll be able to really learn more in depth about this information as well. All right, and I'm not seeing any questions come in right now, so that's perfectly fine. Hopefully that means that this was a great session and you learned something new today, which I truly do hope is the case. But other than that, if there are no new questions, I do want to say thank you to everyone for sticking with us about 5 minutes over, but I do appreciate your time, and I look forward to working with you again on the next one. Until next time, have a great day and enjoy your weekend as well. Take care, everyone.